Known throughout the Frontier War and beyond as the Naval Armed Forces of the Independent Frontier Union, the Frontier Union Militia in fact has its origins several decades prior to the secession of the Southeast. Formed in response to the severe laxity in assembly support with policing the southeastern frontier, and with only nebulous permission from Parliament itself, the creation of the militia was a measure of desperation by frontiersmen to bring some semblance of order to their lawless systems. The basic structure of what would become the militia began with the small squadron of Linford Island-class coastal defence ships secured by the Frontier Union Party in a rare political win. Originally, these vessels were crewed by CDF personnel under the diminutive Force Southeast, but over the seasons their station became an infamous dumping ground for unpromising officers and ratesmen. Eventually, referendums were undertaken to allow local volunteers from the frontier to assist in crewing the vessels, and ultimately they were simply handed over to the locals entirely. Given broad permission to operate in a form similar to that of an ancient yeomanry or company of sea fencibles, these militia crews were given very little training on the ships and equipment they inherited, and were forced to learn quickly while still combating piracy and smuggling in the region. But worse than a lack of training, their ships were cheaply constructed, not ideally suited for their role, and most importantly, small in number. Eventually, local Centran governors, tired of radio silence from their superiors in Parliament, gave permission for the militia to begin refitting and expanding its small fleet. Extensive modifications to the aging Linford Island class gave birth to the Florencia class Outrider, and several more ships were built to the new Florencia class framing. In addition, numerous military surplus craft were purchased, such as Berkshire-type longboats, as well as Mauritian gunships of varying types. By this point, even the policing of surface settlements on worlds like Mayala's Rest had become a joint effort between the tiny smattering of CDF and CPC forces and the growing local militia. Work even began on an entirely bespoke Union-built warship for militia service, the Indria-class Outrider. Unlike the ancient hierarchy of the CDF, the Union militia is organised in extremely simple terms. There is only one body of personnel and one structure of ranks for all assignments. No equivalent to a Marine Corps exists, and militia partisans can be called upon for service either in ship operation or personal combat at any time. The average rank-and-file militia service person is simply referred to as a partisan, crewman, or sometimes trooper, and selected from these troops were sergeants to lead small groups. These sergeants can be of varying denominations, such as tech sergeant or medical sergeant, to denote the specialisation of their section. Only one subaltern officer rank exists in the Union militia, Noyakara, a Teldrani word meaning unit leader and roughly akin to a lieutenant. Most of the bridge crew of Union vessels hold this rank, as well as company commanders in ground service. Ship commanders themselves hold the simple rank of captain or kanya, marked only by a traditional knot of red cordage tied to their simple flight suits. For much of its history, the Union militia had no need of any kind of flag officers, and simply answered to the militia office of the local Centran government houses on Union worlds. The militia's first fleet leader, Devin Tandil, would be appointed in secret by Kaito Hakim and his Red Bannerets in 286 PCU, 4 years before the Union secession. The appointment was made for a secret operation that to this day remains barely recorded by Centran historians, but is known to modern Union archivists as the Hidden War. Fought in the shadows of the Atamara Crossroads for a short few months in 287 PCU, the Hidden War was a campaign orchestrated by Kaito Hakim and his conspirators to secretly assist the ruthless pirate lord Arcelia Abascal in overthrowing her competing pirate captains in the region and unifying them under her rule in return for her support in Hakim's future revolution. Fought under the guise of simple anti-piracy operations, the Hidden War saw the gifting of numerous militia ships to Abascal's Paleborn, in addition to powerful railguns and other equipment, as well as various actions fought by Devin Tandil's small militia squadron in support of the Paleborn. As a result of these actions, Tandil and his ships became the only militia forces with real experience of ship and squadron actions in wartime, and this led to Tandil's swift appointment as Commander-in-Chief of the militia following the Union secession. Despite his higher authority, Tandil's rank remained the simple Fleet Leader, the same title used by various other senior officers in the militia, all of whom also retained captaincy of their own vessels, with the Centran concept of flag captains being non-existent in the Union militia. Situational titles such as Group Leader or Squadron Leader are also used, though again no specific code of conduct exists on the proper usage of these terms. By the time the Frontier War broke out, the secret development of the Mauritian-built Alessia-class fast frigate was already underway, and some efforts were already in place to turn the militia into a more ordered navy. But despite the efforts of more traditional officers, the militia was held back from properly shedding the simplicity of its structuring, as that simplicity had quickly begun to prove itself strategically valuable. Divisions of the Union militia, like the famous combined force of Fleet Leader Devin Tandil and Free Warden Tacito Lemaire, had taken great advantage from their ability to develop and execute their own campaigns in detail, often adapting to new situations far more quickly than the notoriously bureaucratic Centran Defense Force. In the dawn of the 4th century PCU, the Union militia retains much of its tried and tested configuration from across the Frontier War, and continues to resist complicating the system any further, though the destitution of the Great Famine provides plenty of lawlessness for the modern militia to suppress. These pirates and smugglers now find themselves pursued by veteran captains, hardened by years of war and often ruthless in ensuring the security of their newly liberated homeland. Thank you for watching. You can get the Sojourn through various distributors, all of which are accessible through www.thesojournaudiodrama.com. You can also get the series through Patreon, where you'll be able to access various bonus features, including our visual dictionary, Guinevere cross-sections, and anthology shorts. Remember to join us on Discord and get regular updates on all upcoming Sojourn releases. All the related links can be found below this video. Fair winds.